you there. Thank you for watching, and welcome to Fortune Lines Forever. Today, I have a 4v4 ladder match here on the most amazing Neuroxus map generator. So let's go ahead and introduce our teams and our players, starting off with Team 1, also known as Blue Team in the Northwest, ending with Team 2, also known as Red Team in the Southeast. Let's go ahead and start with Team 1, starting off with the southernmost player of this team. It is Index Librorum. I think it's a Librarium or something like that. Going first land as a Cybran. He is a little bit over a 1500 in Royal Blue. In the middle for Team 1 in Amethyst Purple, we have Zera2 going first land as an Aeon. He is almost pretty close to even between 16 and 1700. And in the north, we have Esma Noob going first line as the second Cybran here for his team. He is in kind of a similar slot that Zera2 is in, except he is between a 13 and a 1400 rating. And last but not least for Team 1, oh yeah, also Esma Noob is in Tropical Ocean Blue. And last but not least for Team 1 in Stitch Blue, we have Ferv going first line as an UEF. He is a little bit over a 1600 rating, and again, he is going first land. That is all of the players here on Team 1 to introduce two Cybrans, two Cybrans, an Aeon, and a UEF. No Seraphim for Team 1. Down here in the southeast, starting off with Team 2's air player of Dreamer Lazy. Wouldn't it be Lazy Dreamer? Would be anyway. Going first land, as I said, a Cybran. He is in Ruby Red, and he is almost pretty close to even between 16 and 1700 rating. In the west, in Chevy Crimson, already on the move, we have Ravendale. Sounds like Rivendale, but Ravendale going first land as another Cybran here for Team 2. He is a little bit over a 1400 rating, and again, he is going first land, second land as a Cybran. In the middle for Team 2, the highest rated player on his team and in the game overall, it is Taffy. He is in orange to color orange, going first land as a UEF. And again, he is in orange to color orange as a UEF. And last but not least here in the east, we have the Doctor going first land, second air as a Seraphim. The one and only Seraphim here in the game and on Team 2. He is in Light Oak 10, and he is a little bit over a 1400 rating. So for Team 2 side of things, they also have two Cybrans, but instead of an Aeon, they have a Seraphim and a UEF. So the difference between the two teams, Team 1 does not have access to Seraphim Tech. Team 1 does not have access to Seraphim Tech. Team 2 does not have access to Aeon technology. Let's go ahead and look at the mass still on the map. It's not a lot, only about 5,000 reclaim on the map. I mean, a little bit over, maybe 5.5. Not really a ton for 8 players. Trying to do very quick math in my head. What is that? Almost 700 mass per player, a little bit under that. Not a whole lot, but it's still better than nothing, of course, as we like to say here in the cast. And of course, the mass point layouts. There's a very interesting kind of map here. We have a ton of just mountain section here in the southwest, which pretty much makes it impassable to all land. I can zoom in far enough. Pretty much impassable to all land units. So expect to see a lot of AA covering the western side for Team 2 and the southern side for Team 1. There is an isolated, essentially, I don't know if it's a divot or pocket or whatever the case may be. Maybe it's a pocket here in the southwest. 3 mass points, and 2 shared mass points here in the middle. Kind of looks like one of those death masks from like the Japanese. You kind of have like the dragon mask, kind of the mouth section. You have like the teeth, and you have the nose and the mouth. Anyway, we have a lot of mass points in the middle. We are having some combat here between some flares and some mantis here between both teams. Does look like Team 2 might score the first kill, at least the first kill that I noticed. And in the northeast, we have a decent amount of mass points, 4 and 4. And a couple of them kind of just splayed out there. A couple of tri-mass points as well. There's a decent amount of mass points, but I would not be surprised to see players fight over this section. Of course, it is very isolated. Don't really have to worry about a lot of land incursions. Just build all the AA all day, every day, and you should be fine. Does look like both teams do drop some sort of reinforcements or some engineers on the front lines We do see a bomber going after the engineers. They have kind of spread out a little bit, so a bomber coming in will not take out all of them in one go. Unfortunately, the interceptors here for Team 1 are not nearby, so this bomber will get at least a couple of runs in before it is shot out of the sky. We have the comm in the northeast pushing his way. It is Esmo Noob trying to get this northeast corner. There is a lot of mass to grab just in this northeast corner. But both players do want to hold on to this corner, but unfortunately Esmo Noob will have the advantage in terms of versus the Doctor. Doctor is kind of further south, going for some mexes and then a T1 land facility. Those units over here will be outnumbered sooner rather than later. This mean you play here too, Esmo Noob. I mean, yeah, I think that's what he means, but he could go essentially in the middle here. I'm kind of this area is kind of hard to say one player will go after this. Essentially, what is actually happening, what would have happened for the most part, is one player on either team usually just grabbed. It looks like they're just going to grab this and hold it. It'll be a while before either team either it gets completely demolished or somebody comes in for the other team and does that exactly. So we'll see if it stays in the hands of one player. I expect it will, but of course it will be a little bit before that facility is taken offline. There are some artillery in the form of some Medusa coming in to assist with some evacuation or mandatory evacuation orders here for Team 1. We see Ravendale on the upgrade here, speed and range. I'm going to say Rivendell out of just habit. It's very close to the name. Apologies ahead of time to Ravendale for not pronouncing your name correctly, but it is pretty close to Rivendell, and I've heard that name a lot. I like Lord of the Rings, so obviously if you watch especially the extended cuts, they say Rivendell a decent amount in, I think it's at least the first one, if not the third one as well. We do see range going on the way, and then speed immediately, very typical for Aeon commanders, especially on the front lines. Does look like we have a couple of units in the back line here for Team 2's Doctor. And the Tham is busy just going after that T1 Mechs. He will be killed off with those units from the Mantis variety from Esmo Noob. We do see the comm of the Doctor pushing forward, coming into the east. But there is a nice column of flares coming in to kind of disrupt the supply lines here for the eastern player of Team 2. So it does look like, again, two players in the middle for both teams, with one player specializing, it looks like the air player specializing in this little kind of cove area. It does look like Team 1's player of, let's see, that's Index, being able to get another couple of facilities online, but it's not going to last very long. He needs to refocus his efforts in the middle. The only real way to deal with this is just with a lot of air, which he doesn't really have right now. He only has a couple of Team 1 bombers, and they will be able to kill off a couple of hunters, but it's too late. The facilities are down. It's not going to go anywhere. And Team 2 will gain control of what might be the best spot in the game to be. Artillery was going to be kind of hard to get over those mountains right there. Maybe some missiles, maybe. Oh, if they were cruise missiles, definitely. But there's no water on this map, so there are no cruiser missiles. So that's not going to go over those mountains. So essentially this area is just landlocked, which is good and bad, depending on how you look at it. One lonely little Mantis breaks through the front lines and goes after a couple of T1 Mechs. T1 PD trying to establish a back line to prevent what is actually happening from happening. And that Mechs does not get taken out. This Mechs will not get taken out. No one is really nearby to deal with this. There are a couple of bombers, these Zeus. They could easily come over and kill Index's unit, but it does look like they might be busy on other orders. The comm of 02 pushing forward with an Asylum T2 mobile shield, forcing back Ravendale from that western side. He does have the teammate of Taffrey nearby with his gun upgrade. So Team 2 is not out of this yet here in the middle. And again, just due to the huge amount of mountains and very kind of constricting terrain, going to be very hard / very easy, depending on how you look at it, to either pierce through areas or just run through areas, depending on the infrastructure that is currently in that area, of course. Especially these choke points right here. Let's see, this is another good one. Kind of essentially these two, and then this one especially. Very good choke points for either team to grab. The center here is kind of just not no man's land, but essentially, without lack of a better word, or just environment, no man's land. A couple of match points to go after, but it's not really vital in one way or the other if either team gets this, because they still have to fight through these little corridors, and that really messes with the pathing, especially when you get large T3 armies with experimentals. It slows down all of the movement. So T1, T2 units definitely going to be super vital, especially in the mid game, to get around all of these annoying terrain for both teams. Speed and range going down here for Index. He's almost done with that upgrade. And a bunch of just T1 spam being spammed up just to secure this western approach, to ensure there's no transports that come in and sneakily get a T1 or even T2 facility up and running pretty quickly. T2, speaking of which, is on the way here for the Doctor in the east, and Esma Noob going for Nano, so he'll have Stealth, Nano, and Gun. I don't think he'll go cloaking this early. I hardly ever see Cybercoms go cloaking this early. Does look like Doctor is facing off against some Amethyst Purple units from Zeratul. They're T2 Blazes. They aren't the best in terms of DPS, but what they make up for with that is some hover and just very annoying. I feel like that's my description for a lot of units in this game. It's just annoying, tanky, annoying. Yeah, just a lot of annoying units in this game. But that's what makes this game fun, because there's units that you hate going up against, and there's units where you love using because you know it annoys your opponent. So, it goes both ways. We have a couple of tanks getting into kind of the southern section of the front lines here for Team 2's Doctor. He has a huge issue, by the way, of there's nothing over here to protect from this incursion, this bleeding effect that is happening. Zeratul outmaneuvering the T1 units with a couple of his blazes. Mikam needs to get this under control. He's going to start being kind of cornered into, well, the corner of the map, or hemmed in. That's a better way to put it. Hemmed in into this corner. A huge amount of T1 units come in and try to stopgap that. And Utashalas will now be built to stop some incursions from coming from the northeast and the middle here. Does look like the Calm of Noob is going to move a little bit far forward. That T2 PD will be established before most of his units come into range. Delta is on board that commander. The Doctor is fully aware of his location. The PD has been established. His engineers are hurriedly establishing that as well, and he will send his comm forward. Again, the Doctor has Gun and T2, as Manoob has Nano and Gun. So hit points versus regen, definitely the advantage we'll give to the comm of Esmo, unless the Doctor goes for Nano, and then I will give it to the Doctor because Nano on Seraphim are OP, essentially. Especially with the regen aura. Definitely kind of OP. Taffy in the east. It does look like Ravendale is on an upgrade. Probably Nano, just given by what's currently online. He's not going to go for Torpedo because, again, there's no water and there's no need to. So it's most likely Nano. And it does look like Taffy will come and assist. Get a nice overcharge, killing off a couple of those units that were in front of Index. Index will have to kind of just start, dancing over here in the middle, avoiding that fire in the west. Still, again, nothing's really going to happen for a while, and a lot of interceptors and area units just kind of hanging out, ensuring there's no nasty surprises, not supplies, but surprises. Does look like there is a T2 Renegade hanging out. There is a T1 Air Scout just hanging out down there. Not going to kill that off. T3 has now been established for Team 2 and for Team... Oh, not for Team 1. Team 1 slightly behind. And Esma Noob gets killed off by the Doctor here at almost 14 minutes in this game. Looks like he pushed too far forward. And does look like the Utashala did come online just for a couple of seconds at least. The Doctor taking minimal damage, so it does look like Esma Noob definitely should not have pushed in that engagement. And now in the south, we have Taffy being defeated by Index. Taffy trying to cover for his teammate of Ravendale. He is severely wounded. Looks like it was some Corsair snipes on the cards here. Ravendale going to fall here, sub 500, and there he goes. It is a double kill here for Team 1. So as Team 1 loses a player, they take out two of them. It is a 2v3 in favor of Team 1 in the north. Huge push out here from the Doctor, trying to capitalize on the kind of chaos that's happening in the northeast. And now it is going to be the red player of Dreamer Lazy gaining control of everything in the middle and the southwest. Of course, that's what he already had, but still he gains everything in the middle. Going to jack up his eco quite a bit. 248. 02's at 147 due to that dual base that he has now inherited. We should be seeing that air grid here for the Doctor expand very quickly due to the immense amount of resources at his disposal. He, of course, has to now micro all the land, which I feel like at least at some point in time he should give over some control to the Doctor. So the Doctor can start establishing a nice line across the eastern edge and pushing westward. And I wouldn't be surprised to see a strat bomber or two come in. Yep, there he is. I was wondering when he was going to pop up. Coming in on the western side. This facility in the west is essentially not really even protected. Of course, as time goes on, we will see anti-air facilities, because why not? Why would you not put them there? And a huge anti-air base in the middle, essentially creating an exclusion zone that might even cordon off almost the entire southwestern corner for Team 1 if Team 1 is not careful and lets that facility stay online for too long. We have Corsairs running away, trying to refuel, get their orders back in order and establish new targets. Couple of T2 gunship. These renegades going to start to stem the bleeding here. We have some Ilshis as well. Definitely a good counter to the blazes as they also fire very quickly and deal a lot of damage. Ilshis, again, the T2.5 unit in this game, at least one of the two. Very, very annoying. And you can see, look at how fast they just rip through those blazes. They're also ripping through some even songs, these T2 missile launchers. And even an Ascendant just kind of just hanging out. It does look like Team 2 has stemmed the bleeding for the time. And there's a huge attack, or at least a huge attack of Team 1 Mantis on their way to the Doctor's frontline facilities. He's getting some Utashalas. Very good counter to Team 1 Mantis because it's, very quickly debatching. Why can I not say that word correctly? Not sabatch. Oh. Debatching. For some reason that word doesn't seem right in my head, but I think it is the right word. Taking care of those T1 units, because of course their laser weapons hardly ever miss unless they are moving targets or they're running into terrain, one of the two. We do see those gunships moving in over the middle of the map, and it even looks like this upper plateau section, which is kind of isolated, but honestly not really isolated. Like, this is really isolated. This is kind of just a nice little view. We have some T1 bombers on an intercept course with these units. And there is a decent amount of T1AA in the form of mobile and otherwise. So all those bombers will get maybe one pass in, and that's about it. I even see some T2 in the mix as well. So those are not really going to work against that position. T2 blazes underneath some T2 asylums assisting, of course, this front line. Interceptors nearby trying to take out those gunships. One of them has been defeated. And there's a lot of units kind of just hanging out over here that could easily be engaged in this position. But they're not doing so. There's a very missed opportunity here for Dreamer. Of course, he's trying to micro so many different things at the same time. It's very hard to deal with that. We have an SR-90 Blackbird running around the map here. The spy plane for the UEF. Modeled after, of course, the SR-71 biplane. I forget what the call sign was with those. Dude, I should know that. I should definitely know what those are. They weren't Blackbirds. Oh, shoot. Anyway, they were just a very good stealth, not fighter, but a stealth recon unit. Very, very useful during the Cold War for the Americans. Of course, we have missiles raining in out of this lower positions. Definitely, again, I have the high ground coming into play here in this map, even still. Even with all these mountains and a couple plateaus, gotta have the high ground. You just, it's almost the first rule of war. You get the high ground, see what you can see, then move on from there. Does look like Team 1 is pushing on this eastern side for the middle. And we have some Corsairs coming in through the southern section, going after some T2 Mechs. Takes out a fully ringed T2 Mechs. That's got to hurt the eco. And ASFs come in and intercept those. Those look like they kill another T2 Mechs and another T2 Mech. So 3 T2 Mechs, 2 of them fully ringed. Definitely going to hurt the eco of Team 2's Dreamer Lazy. But he's up to 400, and he is definitely leading the pack here for his team and in the game in general at 527 mass a second for Team 2. Team 1 at 470, almost 480. And that's kind of partly due to Team 2 having access to essentially the entire eastern edge of the map and now pushing in westward. We still have some spy planes trying to get a readout here on the southern section of Team 2's air player of Dreamer Lazy, but ASF's trying to ward off any sort of incoming intel gathering operations. But it does look like Team 1 will get a nice view on what's going on. Not an exact amount if they would like, but something's better than nothing. And we have, of course, the airplay of Dreamer expanding his air grid nice and big. Of course, in the rear, only one facility still online for Ferb. He's short stacking it here in terms of his mirror. But to be fair, when you're given, a bunch of mass, essentially in 30 seconds per second, you're like, ooh, that's I'll just make that into an air grid. And he's really expanded it, almost getting 500 by about the 20-minute mark. 450 was, I think, the exact amount that he had. And at 20 minutes in this game, Team 1 has 3 players left. Team 2 has 2 players left. Team 2 in the lead by about 660 mass a second. Total mass accrued for both teams. Team 2 almost at 30,000 mass more than their opponents. So let me know down in the comments who you think is going to currently win. And again, thank you so much for watching. Hit that like button, hit that sub button, hit all of the buttons. Make sure you watch yesterday's video. The new SMD, whether you knew about it or not, has been unveiled, or at least shown on my casts. So if you don't know about it, you should definitely take a look at it because it might change your game. Just want to point that out. Might change your game, especially against the YOLO. And you'll obviously, if you see the thumbnail, you'll definitely understand what I'm talking about. We have, of course, T2 and T1 tanks pushing the middle of the map here for Team 2's Dreamer, launching a piercing attack through the heart of Team 1's front line, which doesn't even really exist at this point. Their main front line is in the east, fighting off the forces from the Doctor. And he has a nice facility coming online, lots of T2 and T1 PD. Would like to see a couple more AA emplacements, and he does have a nice kind of sectioned off escape route with a couple of T1 PD to protect himself as well. But I think what's going to happen at some point is Zeratul is going to cut off his way of escape permanently and supply lines by going straight east and then going north. So Team 2's Doctor has to watch out for that, but he is pushing against Team 1's front line of Zeratul at the same time. So while his front line down here is being taken out, the front line, at least in terms of in front of his comm, is being driven back. A couple of bricks are being thrown to deal with this, but with the amount of Ilshis and now an Autumn appearing, that brick is not going to feel good and is going to die very quickly. And that force of pillars and strikers are pushing into the main, the main production facilities of the player of Index. It does look like a facility has been taken out. He's getting into the air game as well, trying to assist his team in that regard, as he notices his team is going to be behind in that regard. Like, this map almost isn't fully designed around air, but because, again, since the quite tight corridors, there's a huge amount of the terrain that's just not even passable for ground units. Might as well get in the air game. And since Team 2's Dreamer has a ton of eco, almost up to 600 in a couple of minutes, since I mentioned about it last, Team 1 needs to get a handle on this because it can get out of hand very quickly, especially with a huge amount of territory in the middle, essentially not even being occupied by either team. I'd say Team 2 owns it, but they're not really occupying it. They're just holding it off. A bunch of ASFs sitting here, of all places, trying to just protect against any sort of transporting nonsense. Either load a PD or for Monkey or get out, says Ravendale. So it does look like Team 1 has a Monkey somewhere. I don't see it at the current moment. Looks like it was just spied on. It's going to be made by a Cybran player, so it's either here or up here. But I guess Zeratul is also a Cybran player. There it is. The Monkey Lord is inbound for this position in the east. Ilshis and a couple of PD, and it doesn't even look like the Doctor says, nope, I'm out, see you, bye. That front line is going to collapse, and I wouldn't even be surprised if this Monkey Lord goes south and tries to intercept the comm, making this a 3v1. But it does look like Corsair Snipe coming on the cards here for Index's comm. Don't know why he left the main base, but he has Nano. 96 hit points a second. We have Some Corsairs being attacked by some ASFs from Team 1's Ferv, but Ferv is going to lose all of his air control at this point. And that comm is dropping below 3,000 and dropping below almost 2,000. Gets back up to about 3,000. ASF control will reside in Team 2. Corsairs still coming in. Bombs still impacting around that comm. Dropping below 1,000 hit points. Getting back up there because of that 96 hit point region. And there he goes. The ASFs protected the Corsairs long enough for Team 2 to get a kill on Index. And at 24 minutes in this game, it is now a tie game at 2v2. The Monkey Lord has still yet to arrive, but it is going to push in the east, or at least the northeast to be specific. Bricks forming a nice brick wall. Not a lot of Othams here. A decent amount of Utashalas and Team 1 PD, but the comm looks like he's going to just evade on the eastern edge of the map and retreat back to his main base. He should just keep going. But there are some bricks approaching his main base, though, and a couple of Obsidians. That's not going to last very long, but Corsairs from Team 2's air player of Dreamer come in and assist with some bombing runs. Othams focusing, of course, a single target, what you got to do. Bricks doing the same thing. Bricks looks like they will be dealt with pretty quickly, unfortunately, here for 0-2. And those bricks will be a nice source of income here for Team 2's Dreamer on that eastern side. And now we have T3 units littering the field. We have Loyalists in the middle here for Dreamer. Even though he's an air player, it does look like there was a fire beetle going after some T2 Mechs. There's one still alive, and there's an engineer scooping up the reclaim as we speak. This would be Team 1's opportunity to get into this territory since the ASFs are not nearby, and there's not even Corsairs. Looks like the Corsairs are going for the Monkey Lord. They're completely distracted by this. ASFs will cover the airspace around those Corsairs while the Sniper Force comes inbound. The comm is on a transport. I guess it was definitely donated by Team 2. Is Dreamer lazy to get him out of there? Couple of Othams for some protection. That Monkey Lord is severely wounded due to all the PD it ran into. That Monkey Lord dropping into the red. We'll get a rank and veterancy from all of these units. And Utashalas, of course. Does look like maybe one pass might be enough to finish off this Monkey Lord, and he'll drop into the red sub 1,000 and then get back up to 5,000 and then die off anyways. But that rank and veterancy came at a perfect time to give him a little bit more health. But it will force back the rest of this brick force and give Team 2's Doctor still control over at least the edge, the eastern edge of this map. Still, no attempt to drop any forces down. It looks like a T2 gunship has noticed the fire beetle, and oh no! The engineer is killed off, and the mechs as well that it built. That's gotta hurt. Wouldn't be too hard to get another engineer over there, but still, you know, you just built the mechs, you're working on another one, and then your teammate comes in, indirectly kills you. That's very annoying. I would say the least. That just hurts. There is a Soul Ripper. Very interesting. First experimental out from Team 2, and it's an air experimental. Usually you see the chicken or the monkeys, considering they're Seraphim and Cybrid on Team 2. And no, it is a Soul Ripper. And honestly, there's not really a lot of air, at least in terms of AA. There's a decent amount of ASFs, but it's not going to feel good. It does look like 0-2 inherits everything in terms of the front line, and Ferv is going to just establish his air grid further and further. He's going to conquer the skies as it would be. And a lot of forces are being devoted to this eastern edge here. We have a couple of bouncers in the middle here for 0-2 trying to knock out some AA running around, but that's a horde of Corsairs. I wonder what their target is. I don't really know what it is. They're supporting this gunship as we speak, but I don't really know. There's a couple of bombers inbound here to the east. I don't know what they're really going after, just attacking anything and everything, I guess. But one bomber at a time, not really going to work out there. Just looks like a couple of AA emplacements will deal with those bombers pretty quickly before they really do any sort of damage. Scrap bomber online here for Team 2's Dreamer. Looks like there might be a snipe somewhere on the cards here. Of course, Ferv is in his main base, and 0-2 is underneath shield covered, so he has some sort of protection. Ferv does not. Maybe Team 2 is going to go after the air player. That would be my play with an air control like that. Force the air dominance. A fun game this was, says Ferv. He thinks it's over. Oh, little Soul Ripper. Sick. this Ravendale, and that Soul Ripper is inbound, taking out anything and everything in its path. It's literally ripping the soul out of people's bodies, hence the name. Don't land the Soul Ripper, though. That would be very bad. Very bad for everyone involved. ASFs for Team 1 come in and try to take it out, but not really doing a whole lot. Looks like they're just from 0-2. The main ASF force is holding back. A nuke is online. Not loaded, but is online for Team 1's Perv, so that might be able to bring them back in this game. ASFs go straight for that gunship, dropping into the yellow very quickly. Dropping into the red as well. One more pass will kill off that Soul Ripper. Give a nice amount of income in terms of mass for Team 1 to scoop up. Corsairs assassinating the western side of Team 1's 0-2's base that once belonged to Index. And now air dominance will be in the hands of Team 2. Air control at the minimum. Looks like there's a lot of Team 1 AA being spammed up to deal with those Corsairs. Will the ASFs continue in, or will they retreat? I think they will retreat for now. That is a lot of mass here on the front lines. 15,000 to be exact. Not amount of mass that you want your opponent to get their hands on. You would rather nuke it than see it in the hands of the enemy, kind of thing. We see an attack coming in from the east here from 0-2. It's being pushed back by a couple of Othams, which honestly shouldn't even be an issue. They should just keep pushing forward and take out this base. But they're leaving this base online, which means the longer this stays on, the more forces are built up, the harder it is to root out the Doctor in the east. Looks like he might be going for a chicken. Yep, that is what he's doing. It's in the green, which means it's going to be finished here pretty soon. And a scat. 30 minutes. Air player. Cybrin. With 800 mass per second he's building. Not a lot, but he's started himself. Escathus, he has cloaking and he has T3 underneath the shield, which is expanding as we speak. Well, because it's upgrading. And yeah, that's going to be very, very, very interesting to watch as that goes on. He doesn't really have air dominance now. It's more like air control. Not really a good engagement. Would have been very... Oh, it was a good opportunity, but he just wasn't on the trigger for that moment. Couple of strap bomber. Oh, that is a not great amount, and they have now been spotted. 15 strap bombers here for him. That will be a snipe, definitely. Is he just spending mass? Oh, that's why he's building it. He's still trying to spend mass. He's producing too much mass, and he needs more engineering support. He's getting some hives upgraded as we speak. A lot of assistance on those bombers and ASFs. Actually, those are ASFs specifically, but these might be... Looks like there is a bomber in the mix there. But there he goes. Now he's spending a lot of that mass. In the north, Taffy makes a comment. There is a crab online for 0-2. Using that Seraphim technology to push back his opponent. Bricks in the mix with a bunch of T2 asylums for support. And this base does not look long for this world. They're going to just rip it straight off the face of the world and say, this is ours now. See ya, bye. Bunch of Percys in the middle. Love to see it going after Bricks. Definitely the good counter to Bricks, unless Percys are really outnumbered. Then it's not really a good counter. But a lot of T1 units going to come in for some Medusa. And that Brick just gets annihilated. And it even looks like Dreamer is employing his own Bricks as well. So that deadly combo of Brick and Percy, definitely not something you want to go up against, because you have a lot of firepower instantly coming in from the Percy and then constant firing from the Brick, and it's just hammering away the competition essentially. Sniper bot gets too close to the sun and gets burned for it. It does look like Team 102's forces will stay here for now. They are pushing to, again, blockade the northeastern corner. That's, I think, a really good idea, isolating these forces in the northeast, forcing the chicken to engage. And I think the chicken just says, nope, I'm good, just going to hold, because he knows that there is a megalith inbound. And he's like, I'll just let the Dreamer handle a lot of this. ASF's here for Team 102 as well. Did he? Nope, that's 2 air forces. I mean, it's nice to have your own air force, but it's probably better to be macroed by one person at this stage. I mean, at like 50 or so minutes, yeah, I don't see the issue with it. But 33, that's kind of a problem. Is, you know, like, yeah, you can go after stuff in the middle, but now if you need the ASF over here for some reason and they're not there, you know, that's also a problem. Let's check on that nuke. And the nuke, as we speak, has been launched. And it's going for the air grid. The air grid will be protected. Dreamer says, I'm just going to build a bunch of hives. I'm not really worrying about it. The Scathis is in the yellow. The nuke will be shot down by Team 2's SMD. Too bad there wasn't a satellite to prevent the launch of that nuke. Reference to yesterday's video, of course. And the Perseus, and where'd that brick go? The brick was in here somewhere. Oh, the bricks are, no, these are Perseus. Where'd the brick go? Maybe the brick died. They are ripping through that front line. T1 PD trying to be thrown together, but honestly, not going to do a whole lot against the one-shot cannons of those Perseus. T2 Cerberus, even a worse choice in this matter. Better range, but that's literally all they got. Nuke not really getting a lot of assistance. That nuke is, of course, shot down. Another secondary SMD is going to be built. Another secondary SMD also built. Actually being assisted by some hives, at least. A little bit it is. And that's got this. It's crawling until 4,000 hit points. We have missile. I was going to say TAC missile battery, but those are actually just flapjacks shooting a bunch of missiles off. And now the southwestern corner, which has felt a lot of pressure by the Soul Ripper and the Corsairs from earlier, is just going to be ripped to shreds. It looks like Dreamer's goal is to annihilate all of the AA in this western area and then bring his bombers in on this western side and either go after the air grid or the nuke specifically. There is a donut being built by Team 1's Zeratus, so that'll be interesting for some air coverage. Another crab is online for him as well. Chicken going to engage the crab here at 35 minutes in this game. Kind of late for a experimental on experimental action, but that is a lot of bricks to shoot through. He's not focusing on the crab, which should be focusing on the crab. We have Otham forces now sandwiching that megalith as the megalith retreats. The bricks don't really know what to shoot at. They're shooting at anything and everything at this point. The chicken is going to get in somewhat in the middle of those forces and cause some havoc. The Otham's constantly firing into the back of that megalith, and we have some artillery in the rear doing the same. Ion Storm goes off. The bricks get mostly out of range, it looks like. Bricks that will follow in definitely won't be able to do a whole lot, and some sniper bots keeping them at bay. But Strap Bombers go immediately after that megalith go, nope, not going to deal with it. The ASF are probably going to be immediately called here to the east to deal with that. If they are, yep, there they go. They are called for it. And if Dreamer is aware of that, he will just send his Strap Bombers back south to retreat. But nope, ASF are moving into assist as well. We could see the first very big major air fight, but the Strap Bombers do retreat, knowing that the air forces would come in. Power issue, says Index. And Megalith is at 15,000 hit points yet. How is that, Scathis? It is at almost 4,500. Almost halfway done. Did I see a nuke in? No, that's an SMD. Any sort of nuke loading going on? Not really. Not a lot of assistance going on it. A lot of assistance for this Czar. It does look like Team 1 has a bigger number of ASFs. Burv has 125. Zeratul has 47. Actually, that looked like a lot more than it actually was. And the Dreamer has 126. So with the assistance of Zeratul, Team 1 has the larger air force by numbers, and the horde, the absolute horde of T1 bombers, these shimmers, running around the map, taking out those Perseus. And the Perseus have done a considerable job of eliminating all of those T2 and T3. There's a couple of them left standing. But most of those air defenses have been taken out. That's a huge gap for Team 1 to fill once again. And Chicken says Index, yes, there is another chicken online. The crab will launch head forward into the chicken. The chicken is at 67,000 versus the 18,000, so definitely an easy fight for that chicken to win. The range definitely will give an advantage to the megalith, but not for long, especially if those bombers come in and assist, which they're not doing at the current moment, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're given the orders. Looks like a small force is moving in trying to cover the donut. And the benefit, to be fair, of the donut crashing here is that the masses on this mountain very difficult to get to. I don't even know if it's even possible to get to with all that nasty terrain it's flying over. The pings do go down. ASFs are in waiting. And the megalith to the east has been taken out. The chicken is standing strong in the face of that brick wall. And another force to the west. And, of course, another crab that we saw earlier. More shields, says Ravendale. Yes, more shields coming online. Or should be coming online. Needs more shielding. The Donut is inbound, goading those ASFs to move in. And the ASFs are given the order to do so. The ASFs for Team 1 are holding strong. The Donut going to try to crash land. If it does, it's going to wait a couple seconds and then go in. The ASFs come in between the two. Oh, I don't know what that happened there. The ASF army and the Donut lands kind of on the edge of that mountainside, and those ASFs will be chewed up by Team 1. There are a lot of T2 flak cannons being established, these flak SAM launchers and flak artillery. And all the ASFs do die for Team 2, so Team 2 is defenseless in that regard. But the Strat Bombers are coming in while those ASFs were distracted. Nice diversionary tactic by Dreamer, going after 0-2's comm directly. Oh, no, they're actually going to skip it and go straight for that nuke launcher. He's worried about that. The bombs do not land, and they do not... Oh, they almost took out the Stone Ranger. That was very close bomb for Noob, says Dreamer Laser. Great, Dreamer Lazy. See, I mean, I said his name wrong. I always want to say Lazy Dreamer for some reason, and it throws off my brain every time I say it. But the Scathis is in the green, 7,500 hit points. And a climbing Megalith comm here, says Index. Yes, the comm is there. But how are you going to hit it? I don't see any sort of avenues of attack with that. They have air superiority. There's a satellite coming online here. Like I said, I don't see anything really besides the Team 1 bomber spam and the amount of ASFs. Oh, there is another donut, to be fair. But the amount of T3AA, they might just try to crash land it on top of the Scathis directly. The comm going to just build a bunch of T3 SAM sites to try to bolster his defenses, and it's building them very quickly. That donut still has his shield, so it's going to take a second to chew through all those hit points. And the ASF's blocking any sort of ASF contingency coming in. Lots of SAM sites are inbound. Are they going to prevent the construction of the Scathis, or will the donut be crushed? But I don't think it will be, and there goes that Scathis. It is gone, and that donut is going to try to get out of there. No, it's just going to go after infrastructure and the like. The donut is at half health. He's now going to target the comm of Dreamer directly. And oh, can they even? I'm assuming they can see him. No, they just think he's somewhere. And there goes that air grid here for Team 2's Dreamer Lazy, and lands on top of some PD and other defenses. The air grid has been demolished. Team 1 has air dominance for a while, and now the Scathis that was building for so very long has been diminished. So Team 2's Dreamer Lazy's eco has been... Oh, it's still there. And Team 2 is still leading in the mass points per second, but GG, nice try, says Ravendale. Next one, let's go, says Index. And the other donut is now online. Just throwing donuts at your opponent, not necessarily the best strategy. Can those engineers reach that donut on the hill? That's 22,000 reclaim just sitting on top of that hill. Lots of other reclaim due to looks like just a lot of ASFs like littering the field. That's a lot of numbers here. How much does that equal? That can do 31. Oh wow, not 31. 300,000 mass at 41 minutes in this game. That is a ton. That is more than a Paragon. That is a lot of mass. And we see a couple of Team 1's forces. Of course, these bouncers can target ground targets, but their accuracy is, well, I mean, we see how bad it is. It's not great. It's not great. And the Percy's just come in and instantly kill those, but not really working on that. We have some quantum gateways going online here for the Doctor. He's building more pigeons and, of course, more chickens. I would like to see a bomber out of Team 2 because they do have access to it. The Awasa. I think I said that right. I was like thinking in the back of my head, like, did I say that right? Awasa. There it is. There it is. Again, for some dumb reason, I feel like every time I say it wrong, and even if I say it right, I say it wrong. And even if I say it wrong, I say it wrong. So regardless of what I say, in my mind, I feel like I'm saying it wrong. But it's fine because, you know, it's pretty close, and mostly everybody knows what I'm talking about. So the T4 experimental bomber that looks amazing. That one. I could say that. Air grid being replenished as we speak. But no, actually just going to focus on just building some ASFs. I thought he was going to just start expanding it. I mean, there is a couple of P-gens being established. And there's a lot of AA now going to be established. So he wants to protect himself once again. But still going to go with Scanthus, though. That thing was almost finished. And Team 1, I mean, donuts aren't a bad way to end the game, to be fair, if you just throw 30 of them at your opponent. Laser in the sky, also a good way. You need like 8 more of those. Keep walking, says Index. This too, says Index. So a lot of experimentals on this northeastern side. Still has not claimed it officially for his team of for Zeratul and Team 1. But another donut is inbound to these chickens on the front line. And I feel like that donut is inbound here for the front line base of the Doctor here at 44 minutes in this game. But there's a decent amount of AA. And there's even some Cougars in the mix as well. That will force that donut back. He's going to go after those chickens. But honestly, I don't even think that was worth it. The donut might make it out of dodge. Oh, sub 7,000. Looks like he does get out at 7,000 hit points. For measly, what, maybe 20,000 hit points on a chicken. Not really worth it. And that donut will be out of commission for a while. A second donut is moving into the middle. And we'll see, of course, the large amount of effort for Team 2 to just spam out T3 mobile AA, or the rapid cannons of those Cougars, the lightning tanks of the Seraphim. And there they go. They're ripping through that shield very, very quickly. Already down 10,000 capacity. Going after these units. A lot of Loyalists and Cougars in the mix. Very fast-moving units here. The shield looks like it will stay online for now, but still very risky to put a unit that valuable just off a couple of T3 units. Not really worth it. And the donut will keep going. There's a horde of Perseus that's not moving. You might want to move. You might want to move those. You might. That's going to hurt. Those Perseus are dead. Those Perseus are dead. Let's see. Every Percy that dies. Of course, the mass is being destroyed while it's being lasered, so it's really hard to keep track of. I think it's like 600 mass. ASF come in and try to deal with it, and they will kill off this donut, unfortunately, here. He's going to try to land it on top of that mountain. Oh. Nope. No, it's going to land on actual terrain. And the ASFs for Zeratul come in and assist, but it's a little too late. We have some broadswords here in the west for Ferv, trying to take out some T2 mexes and other frontline facilities. But again, more AA being spread all around this southern section, even more down here as well. Team 2's Dreamer does not want to repeat the catastrophe that was the decimation of the Scathus. And Team 1, I mean, their strategy's good for a little bit. They are building their own artillery that is a little bit farther behind their opponent of a Scathus. Why did the SAT crash? What? Why did it crash? That's weird. I didn't pay attention to it. Maybe I don't think it got lasered or anything. If it goes outside the map, it just comes right back in because the unit still exists, so it's not that. Yeah, that is really weird. Huh. Anyway, that's a lot of broadswords. That's very, very concerning here for Team 2. Of course, the broadswords, the best gunship to take out ground units and structures. Lots of firepower on those things. And Team 1 definitely going to use those to force back the opponent. Of course, they've taken this territory. There's one only little engineer left. But there is a Monkey Lord charging the front lines with not a lot of protection as well in terms of anti-air T3 units, or even that matter Team 2 having a lot of protection. Just a lot of bouncers and Cougars and all T3 AA, and they don't really have a lot of Perseus or other, ground-to-ground weaponry. And even, again, Cerberus don't really do a whole lot, even against the monkey. So they need some sort of way to fight without just diverting entirely to AA. Of course, the Scathus now in the green once again. Retreat, says Index. You could push it a little bit more, at least take out another T3 mechs, couple more of them at least. Perseus are inbound, but there's a couple of Loyalists as well. Some spy planes being shot down. Some T2 Cerberus is being spammed up to help assist in defenses. Monkey Lord going to keep going, though. The Percy has been defeated. The Loyalists aren't going to be able to EMP that Monkey Lord because it's just too powerful. And there's not a lot of stuff to fight this. And all the units back here, all these Perseus are just a little too slow to catch up with it. T2 Cerberus being spammed up, and more lines of T2 Cerberus being spammed up. Shields going down. This SMD would be a great target. I was going to say 3 SMD loaded. Definitely a great target. Takes out a couple of those hives and some more defenses. Going to kind of cut a path. Looks like it's going to be pinging another SMD. There's still... Actually, there isn't one. Ooh, that's interesting. It does cover most of the main base. But I think that Nuke could... I mean, it could strike probably about here. And that Scathis is online, and it's not engaging its cannon, question mark? Where is it? What is it? Oh, it's going under more SMD coverage. That would make more sense. Where is it going? It's going to go right here. Not next to P-Gens. Don't put yourself next to some volatile explosions. Not a good idea. Satellite is inbound to check the progress of that Scathis, of course. But Percy stopped walking, says Index. I think you can make it, says Index. That Monkey Lord is at 5 vet, 80,000 mass kill just for that one monkey. Gonna really rip through this western defensive line. That Scathis should be firing. There it is, and it's going to impact, I'm assuming, the Stone Andrew, who has 1 nuke loaded. Should fire it sooner than later. A lot of defenses are down in terms of anti-nuke missiles. It does look like there's really not, again, not a lot of ground forces. The Percys have now officially caught up to that Monkey Lord, of course. It is a 5-star Monkey Lord. It's 95,000 and climbing 96,000 mass killed. Percy's coming into range, fire off their first volley, drop him into the yellow, and then back up to the green, and then immediately back into the yellow. That Monkey Lord has to retreat in the face of that amount of firepower. Death is constantly firing. Needs more shields, though. 1 laser. There's a decent amount of overlapping coverage. Nuke is going to launch. Where is it going? It's going over here for defenses. There's a lot of T2, a couple of T3 flak. Looks like the gunships are definitely what he is opening up for. The monkey still holding strong, though. Is dropping into the red, though, pretty soon. There he goes. The Percy should be able to finish off the Monkey Lord here. And we'll get a lot of kills, a lot of mass death as well, but a lot of bouncers and their own Monkey Lord. Those broadswords are not really going to go anywhere. We have an attack down the middle with a couple of T1 Medusa, but against kind of pitiful defenses, it will still be staved off. Team 1 has their own artillery in terms of a Disruptor. And this base here back in deep here for Ferv has been sort of picked apart. The air grid is starting to be decimated. And the air grid here for Team 1, Seratu, there's 1 facility, there's a couple more facilities. Not really a very succinct air grid, but I'll get to the job done. Oh, and also kaboom! We of course have those gunships building up and strap bombers as well. They really want to kill that Scathis. And now that the laser is down, they don't have Omni surrounding this location. They only know what was shown early. Of course, they know that the comm is there. The comm probably should move. Obviously, more shields should definitely be built. There is a decent amount of AA coverage. There's more AA coverage aligning this western approach. And so these gunships will be forced to just sit here for a while. I'm assuming Dreamer knows about them. Yep, he definitely knows about them. And he knows about the Czar. So a lot of ASF, a lot of resources are going into this push 51 minutes in. If it doesn't crack the shields, if it doesn't kill off the artillery, it just might be game here for Team 1. The nuke is still online. And it looks like the Scathis is now targeting the base for Zeratu. Will the Donut receive a shot? Actually, he does receive a shot. Look at that. And the air grid has been kind of cut in half here for Zeratu as well. So most of their attack needs to work, or it's going to hand air control over essentially the Team 2. Couple of Aloha tactical missiles get shot off going after this position in the east, kind of going after, I would assume, the SMD or something, maybe some P-Gens. They're going after some AA coverage, but the strap bombers go in and they hover for too long, and those T3 bouncers will rip them to shreds. Definitely not something he should push with. And now the gunships will move northward. Maybe they're going to try to go down the middle. Some ASFs are receiving some fire in the sides. A couple of Corsairs are inbound as well, but I don't think they're going to get very well, unfortunately, here. Again, 2 donuts. All of this Air Force should be controlled by one person. Have the other player focus on something else, or have one player focus on the donuts, the other players focus on the ASF. But having one player do both, not the best idea. But a Colossus down the middle is not going to help the defenses here for Team 2. And the Scathus is running out of shield coverage. They need more shields. The SMB's being loaded. Definitely shield coverage should be the priority here. They are losing it as we speak. Scathus still firing against that nuke and this position here. And emissary being built. Not a bad position to put it. Again, 1 artillery isn't a whole lot, but it could make or break the game, though. We have the donut now supporting the Colossus, and the Colossus somehow got twisted upside down, and now that the Monkey Lord will take out the Colossus, very interesting. I thought he would have been he would have just easily just stopped, lasered the Monkey Lord, and that would have been it. But that is definitely devastating. Would have done a lot of work in clearing out a lot of those ground forces and defenses. Now those broadswords are essentially forced to engage. Percy's moved into assist. Now they're no longer needed. And now those T3 Myrmidons are laying into those broadswords. Those broadswords not getting a whole lot of work done due to a lot of the AA that they're flying in. ASF's going to be covering in for those broadswords. But the first donut is down, got eviscerated. The second donut is coming in. But unfortunately, this line of SAMs will be able to deal a decent blow to that donut. And the donut is inbound. Oh, it's going to be close. Impacts the shield a little bit, but still the main shield surrounding that Scathus is perfectly fine. A lot of ASFs died. Of course, the air grid for Team 1 is down. Is very, very down. And I don't think it's going to go very well. The Disruptor takes a heaping amount of damage. Has 2 pigeons severely wounded. And, of course, Mass Fab's definitely not what you want to put next to a Disruptor. You want to put shields next to a Disruptor, not Mass Fabs. There is an attack in the east by Zeratu, but I think, unfortunately, I don't think it's going to happen. There it goes. Yeah, it was going to take 1 explosion, take out everything else. Team 1's artillery is down. They're building another donut and an emissary, but they have a satellite. That's better, but don't know if it's really worth it at this point. For Team 1, we have multiple donuts down. We have a lot of air forces down. We have a nice artillery battery right here, but not really the bad. I mean, it can take out some things. You can see the range on it. Take out a couple of T3 mexes. Taking out SMD. That's definitely the target. The recall vote did not pass, so Team 1 will stay in this game, apparently. Did not notice that. And if I wasn't on Ferv's little hover, whatever that you want to highlight, I guess is what you would call it, I wouldn't have noticed that. But the artillery's still raining in, and honestly, at this point, I'm going to speed it up to 2. We know this game is going one way. The Scathus that was destroyed earlier was just the prolonging the inevitable, and the emissary that was being built has been destroyed. And the donut does come off the assembly line, and now Team 2 has built their own artillery, at least T3 variety, a Hovatham, and supporting it with its own pigeons as well. The defense satellite is holding position. Where'd that donut go? What the donut was flying? Oh, it's over here. Flying over in the east. There's 3 chickens. So we had Team 2's Doctor hold off. The nuke is inbound. Where is it inbound? It's going after this position. There's another T3 air facility that's going to go down. SMD trying to be propped back up. Is not going to have enough time. The nuke launcher is eventually taken out, unfortunately. And I feel like Team 1 has lost their last offensive long-range measure. The nuke will land. Kaboom! Ferv's team will recall. They wanted to see the nuke go off, and Team 2 will win this fight. If I had more than 6 misses from the start, that would have been great. Yeah, more mass is always good. You did get a lot more mass as time went on, but it just wasn't soon enough. Having 2 players eco just immediately thrust into yours definitely just expedited Team 2's victory. I mean, he was already almost half done to building a little over half done to building a second Scathus as well. And I feel like if he finished the first one, was able to get a decent amount of shots up, this game would have ended a lot sooner. That's why I said it's just prolonging the inevitable. But it's still a good game. I wanted to cast this game specifically because the map was so different. There's so much impassable terrain for land units. It almost forces you to play a standoffish air game. And for the most part, land did play somewhat of a role, but it mainly came down to air and T4 artillery. So let me know down in the comments who you think deserves the MVP and MUP slash MUP, depending on your feelings on it. In terms of this game, I mean, I feel like Dreamer gets MVP just for the fact that, he's microing so much. He lost two of his teammates earlier on, not players, and just went, I'm just going to build up my eco and build a Scathus and call it good. Very simple-minded, not single-minded, not simple-minded. Very single-minded, build ASF. He didn't even go after an air grid again. He just kept his T3 air facility headquarters and just went, I'll just pump out some ASF for protection, but that's about it. He went for mass T3 AA and shields and hives and that sort of thing. Mobile T3 AA units as well, so you can move around the map. Those Cougars and those bouncers, just all the T3 AA units are just devastating, especially for donuts and whatnot. The bug play was a little kind of aggressive, I feel like. If it was a couple minutes earlier, maybe it would have been better, but there was just enough forces nearby to kill it almost in 2 passes. And so it really could have been useful a lot more, maybe on this eastern side where the ASF weren't hanging out, but it was a good attempt, most definitely. So in that regard, again, still, I feel like Dreamer Lazy gets the MVP award. Let me know down in the comments if you feel the same way. Hit the like button, hit the sub button, hit the share button, hit all the buttons. Leave a comment. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see all of you in the next one.